Didn't have time.
Busy. Keep it going for Jamie Brickhouse!
You should be a writer. That's what you should be doing. My mother, Mama Jean, had been saying this to me ever since I was in junior high. So she was elated when I enrolled in a playwriting class my freshman year in college, and she couldn't wait to see the first thing I'd written. So I wrote a 5-minute scene, opening of a play about two best friends, a straight woman and a gay guy, write about what you know. And this was 1986. I was ahead of my time, before Will and Grace. So I printed it out on my dot matrix printer, and I put it into an envelope and put a stamp on it and mailed it to her and my father. And as soon as she read it, she called me. "Oh, your father and I read it, and it's marvelous. You need to be writing. That's your ticket. And remember what I've always told you. You control your destiny." Now, every time she said that to me, I didn't believe her because I thought she controlled my destiny. I mean, my whole life, she was telling me what to do, directing me, telling me what to wear, how to speak, enroll in a playwriting class, that sort of thing. So I never had a doubt that she controlled her own destiny. Now, she was of a generation that most white middle-class women were housewives and didn't work. And after she had her third child, she was bored being a housewife. And she went to work. And at first, low-paying jobs. And my father brought home the bacon, but it was sizzling. And she thought, if I'm going to work, I want to make some money so I can have the nicer things in life. And she became a realtor and went to the top of the game there. And then she started making serious money. She became a stockbroker. Now, y'all have to understand, this was the early 1980s when the finance industry was dominated by men. And in small-town Texas, she was the only woman in an all-male office. But she staked out her claim early on. She overheard two brokers laughing about how they had stolen clients from another broker. She put her head in the door and she said, "Hey, fellas, I heard what y'all said. If you ever do that to me, I'll cut your balls off." They never did it to her. And she became the top producing broker in that office. Yeah. So after I graduated from college, I thought maybe I'll stay in San Antonio where I was going to school for a little while and figure things out. She said, "San Antonio? No! You need to be in New York, especially with your lifestyle." So with a push from her, I moved to New York and I got a job in publishing in the hopes that I'd become a writer. And my career in publishing took off, but my career as a writer flatlined as my career in drinking skyrocketed. And so over the next 16 years, whenever she would occasionally chant that mantra, "You should be a writer, that's what you should be doing," it was interspersed with, "Jamie, you need to watch the drinking. It's out of control." And she was no longer in charge of my destiny. The alcohol was in charge of my destiny until I bottomed out on a suicide attempt. And she hopped on a plane and she flew to New York and she staged an intervention and she shipped me to rehab at her expense. But before I got on that plane, "Your drinking days are over. And by the way, suicide is a mortal sin. So it's a damn good thing you didn't succeed. Otherwise, you couldn't spend an eternity in heaven with me." Talk about controlling my destiny. So after rehab, as I struggled to get sober, and I finally did get sober, and I started to take control of my own destiny, just as she was losing control of hers. Her mind had been robbed by dementia, Lewy body dementia. And on one of my last visits to her, when I thought she was completely gone and didn't even know who I was, all of a sudden she said, "Remember that piece you wrote?" I said, "What?" That piece, that scene about the gay boy and the straight girl. It was like that cute TV show Will and Grace. I said, "Oh yeah. Well, it was good. It was marvelous. You need to keep writing." And a year after she died, and 2 years after I was sober, I finally listened to her, and I started taking my writing seriously. And I enrolled in a memoir workshop and started a book about my alcoholism and her. Write about what you know. And I realized that she hadn't been controlling my destiny. She was just giving me the tools and the encouragement so I could control my own. And in her last years, when she would chant that mantra, "You should be a writer, that's what you should be doing," like a cabaret singer, she would make a false exit and then return for an encore. "But don't write about me until after I'm gone." Thank you.
Jamie Brickhouse.